Oh my gosh, good morning. Welcome to a very special episode of Nerdist Book Club. I'm Rachel Heine, and joining me this morning are my favorite people, Maude Hector, Maude Hector, Maude Garrett, and Hector.
What Hector?
Maude Hector.
Yeah, you wish your last name was Hector.
I've had a lot of coffee. This is our first morning show.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Clearly, we should not be on in the morning. Great. But it's so painfully obvious. We're more of a nighttime show.
I prefer wine in my hand over coffee.
But we're super, super excited. Don't worry, we will be discussing Lovecraft Country later today with wine. But for now, we have the brand new Dune trailer to dissect. And
say it properly.
While I have seen it, what?
Dune.
Thank you.
Dune. Sorry, we have a new Dune trailer to dissect. Dune. Dune. Like the sand dunes.
Like the month of June.
Maude and Hector have not, that one was on purpose, have not seen the trailer.
No.
So we're going to see live reactions. I have watched it because I had to. For everything else we're doing today on Nerdist, go to nerdist.com after this. But I'm so excited to see what y'all think, what the chat thinks. We're gonna get into it, so everyone get ready. The spice must.
Wait.
On float. Click on float.
Do we all have earbuds? Because we're gonna get a lot of feedback if we're all okay. We got it. Okay, great, beautiful. Yes. How are we doing this, Rachel?
Hector.
The spice must flow.
Here we go.
Excellent.
Legendary signs coming up. We're all on the same page. We're on the same time.
Yep.
Oh, damn, boy.
What's happening to me?
That's spice.
It's your boy.
There's something awakening in my mind. I can't control it. What did you see?
Everyone in this
Spicy.
There's a crusade coming.
You guys, do you often dream things that happen just as you dreamed them?
a goth.
Dang.
The test is simple. Remove your hand from the box,
Whoa. Oh.
and you die.
What's in
What's in the
box?
box?
Pain.
Oh, that's dark.
You inherit too much power. You have proven you can rule yourself.
Oh yeah, man.
That's cool.
Now you must learn to rule others. Something none of your ancestors learned.
Damn.
My father rules an entire planet.
He's losing it.
He's getting a richer one.
He'll lose that one too.
The one that Arrakis costume. Oh, buddy.
Arrakis is a death trap.
This is an extermination.
Sorry,
They're picking my
Clark.
family off one by one.
Let's fight like
Yeah,
demons.
Moa.
An animal caught in a trap will gnaw off its own leg to escape. What will you do?
Got chills.
I know you.
One day, the legend will be born. All of civilization depends on it.
The future. I can see it.
Beyond fear.
I must not fear.
Say it.
Fear is the mind killer.
My Lord Duke.
Where the fear is gone, only I will remain.
Oh, damn.
Oh yeah, I forgot there's worms in this.
He gonna ride one of those.
That looks like a big old butthole.
Wow. That was the detail in that. Oh my gosh,
To me, it
this
looks like an
cast is
iris.
insane.
Oh,
Yeah, it
sure,
does.
an iris.
It does.
Yeah.
Also a butthole, but yeah,
Okay.
it definitely Man, that was such a good trailer. I was trying to.
Oh, I want to hear everyone's first. Like, what did you take out of it the most? Because the thing I took out of it the most is not what I think I would.
Which is what?
Go for it.
Muted colors, the palette.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was so muted. And then as like honestly, when he meets like Chiani, I've already forgotten her name. Thank you. I was like Chiani or Chiana. When we meet Chiani, the blue in her eyes and then that kind of richness of the spice, like the saturation went up, but everything else beforehand, especially on the water planet, like the rain planet, was very muted in color. So I think that will be a transition. I think the first movie is going to be very muted and then it's going to be colorful. That's what I got out of that.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And it's interesting to see like Caladan is muted, but still has this sort of like vibrance to it. And then as soon as you get to Arrakis, and also when you see the Sardaukar army and the Beast, aka Dave Bautista, it's just slate gray. Everything is just desolate, and it almost feels like you can feel the sort of corporate takeover of this planet to just get rid of what does make it amazing and horrifying, like beautifully terrible, awe-inspiring.
But the soul and the taking of the soul, absolutely. The soul of the planet being the spice.
My takeaway was the tone was like pretty pitch perfect. I was like taken aback by how, and like swept up with like how operatic and beautiful the moments were when Paul was like taking the test in the beginning, and how matter of fact and straightforward. And I think I was comparing it to the 80s movie, which is very 80s, and it's very, the way that they depicted certain moments within like the fictional cultures that this movie's about in the 80s film. There were moments where it was silly and things that didn't hold up and things that were very much of its time. And to see some of that stuff in this trailer just be so like sleek and powerful and weighty and grandiose and operatic and Shakespearean and man, that cast is just out of control. So good.
They're so good. I got chills basically every second. There's a moment where, especially, I'm so glad that we read the book for book club, and everyone in the chat agrees. Lily Quinn, also loving Timothy as Paul. Aditya Argawal says very grand and inspiring, but I'm just so glad that I have that
base
background
knowledge
and wealth of knowledge to know, just because. And I'm interested if anyone is joining us now that hasn't read the book or wants to reread it again, etc. Would love to know your thoughts if you haven't read it, because it's hard for me to imagine that. But we also have a giveaway going. So whether you've read it or you just want to listen to it, we're doing a giveaway with Macmillan Books. We have 20 audiobooks to give away. So go to the tweet in the chat, and I think that's where it would be. And depending on which box I'm in, and retweet for a chance to win. I listened to the audiobook. I really, really enjoyed it. There are, it helps with the pronunciation for sure. We also have on Nerdist, make sure you go to nerdist.com today, because we've got glossaries, character guides, analysis, and I do want to dive into specific moments in the trailer. I know you've only seen it once. Maybe watched it a few times to prepare.
Yeah, I bet Rachel. You know what else I was really excited about too is that since we've read the book, I have been talking to my roommate Keller, who's also a big fan of the book, and he's read more than the first one. And you two know Keller, but Keller's great. And Keller and I keep having this conversation where Keller's like, I'm so interested to see how this movie's going to pull it off, because so much of the story, so much of the book is internal, and it's Paul and his thought process for why he does what he does and how he does what he does. And even when it's not thought process, but it's like a dream induced by spice, it's all still very internal. So I know it's just a trailer, but like we had inner monologue in this baby. Like we had Paul, like we heard his voice as he was narrating something, and it was poetic and beautiful. I'm stoked about that. I hope that some of that makes its way into the movie.
Do you know what else I noticed though? That they're really kind of building on the relationships that Paul has. This is Paul's team. These are his men, and we're really quite like deeply seeing their connection. So I think, and I wonder if they're going to use character relationships and like that dialogue to kind of like fuel Paul's thoughts further. But I really like Timothée Chalamet in this. I think he's got an intensity that really, really works perfectly for Paul. He's got a chosen one Dark Prince look, as we were saying. I am on board for that. I love the costuming, the chemistry between Chiani, like fantastic with Zendaya.
Oh, man.
I see. I'm digging it. But absolutely, I think you have to read the book to be able to appreciate this movie on the level it deserves to be. Yeah.
I agree. I was last night when I was so like excited for that. I feel like it's been a really long time too since there has been this DC fandom was another one that was brilliantly executed. But something that I'm this excited for, that's sort of an event that we all get to participate in together because we didn't have sort of a lot of the conventions this year that we normally, get to nerd out together. So I couldn't sleep last night and was chatting with people about Dune. And someone asked, should I read the book? And I, obviously live your life and your truth, but I think that it really adds to the themes. And, there was this really great introduction to the trailer when it dropped at 9 a.m. with Stephen Colbert, who's of course a big Dune fan. of course.
Like, what isn't he a big fan of?
He's a big old nerd.
Like, he's a real nerd, big fan. Like he said he read Dune when he was 19 and felt like he was Paul, and he reread it, in advance of the movie, and was saying the cast and Denis were all saying how relevant this movie is right now, not just young people in a world that feels impossible to navigate, but also just this sort of connection in that sort of dystopian world. And I think focusing on the characters, A, those relationships in the books are so interesting, but B, Denis Villeneuve is like as soon as I knew he was on board for this, I was like, it's going to be amazing because of these sweeping visuals and his empathy and he's so thoughtful. And I just feel like he's going to get it so well. And Timothée Chalamet said he did only two shots with green screen. They shot in the desert. Yeah.
That seems, they got a real huge worm? That's amazing.
Well, they shot it in the desert and then, but they,
those sets looked amazing too. When him and Josh Brolin were like
in Jordan, they're in the desert and you can tell it's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
You're muted, Maude.
That was a big thing that was, quite dated in the movies, and that was the blocking and the shield. Like, it was obviously at the mercy of the technology at the time, but seeing it sort of now, it looks so futuristic and almost like video game-esque, like holographic. That was quite exciting, and I'm interested in that.
Not that Kyle MacLachlan didn't kick ass in that Dune movie.
Kyle MacLachlan has also always looked 30.
Yes, that's true. But he to see
jury
Paul
duty
to see. Did you really?
He's really nice.
Still looks
That's great. That's great. Well, of course, he's the mayor of Portland. He has to be nice. But to see Timothée Chalamet like kick some ass really quickly, I'm like, oh, that's that new movie choreography, and it's gonna be dope.
And Duncan, Idaho. I also in the panel that Stephen Colbert did, which we'll post a link to. We did a breakdown of that also on Nerdist. Jason Momoa, the most delightful human. And he said, that Duncan, Idaho is the best fighter in the galaxy. I really think in the trailer and the interviews, they highlighted the closeness of Paul with his, extended family to an extent, these men in his life who are so important to him and who will do anything for him. And I'm really excited to see Duncan, Idaho, because I think they're going to kind of beef his role up for the movie as well. Not that he's not big in the book, but
yeah, actually there's a great question from quite literally the worst, who said, have they announced who's playing Fade Rather?
No.
Why is that such a secret? Well, take the sting out of it and tell us.
I know. Do we know if, well, so Dune is going to be a two-parter.
Yeah.
So do we think that he is a reveal? I sort of think he might be a reveal at the very end of the first one.
Yep.
After some beast stuff goes down. I don't know though.
Well, I mean, in the books, there was quite a Fade was always kind of like positioned to be Baron's.
But he might be waiting in the wings, sort of, or maybe he's like. Also, can we talk about Stellan Skarsgård in his little mud bath?
Coming out of that goop, yeah. I keep rewatching the trailer. I keep playing it with like silently in the background here, and it's like that scene where Momoa's character sees him in the desert, and they're like, bro, like they're so.
It's that thing that when they make him so likable and like such a prominent part that you know, it's like that thing where in every single show or movie when they're like, so when you get back, we'll do all these amazing things together, and you're like,
yeah.
Hey.
I to answer that question about where we're going to see Fade, I think that this cast is just incredible, but I also think it's kind of difficult to separate some of these well-known actors and their personalities with some of these characters, but I think they're playing into that. I think when you see Momoa, I feel like you're going to bring to this movie your feelings about Jason Momoa as a guy, or Javier Bardem as a guy, or Oscar Isaac, or Timothy, or Zendaya.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet you that Fade,
she has this like magic kind of scary vibe, which I'm of course very into.
Totally.
But I think they feel like themselves.
Yes, this is an all-star, like A-list cast, and I feel that Fade is going to be another actor that it's almost like when The Rock shows up in Fast and Furious, you're like, oh man, it's The Rock. You don't think, oh, it's Luke Hobbs, it's Agent Luke Hobbs, and now he's a part of this franchise. You know that it's that star power. I feel that Fade is going to be this end of this first movie reveal where we're going to see an actor that you cannot wait to see spar with Timothy. And then it'll cut and you'll be like, oh, I can't wait for this next movie because so-and-so is going to be this character.
They are keeping it under wraps. It's becoming more and more obvious. I want to switch the conversation going over to Liet Kynes, because someone was saying, who is the black woman? They have switched races and gender to make an old white man, Liet Kynes, the basically overseer, the person who understands the land of Arrakis. Changed that completely. And Denis Villeneuve actually spoke about that, saying that he wanted to capture her, the essence of the character. And I really like and respect that. At the end of the day, it's a fictional character, and it's about who they are here and the essence that they bring. That is the most important thing. So I'm really enjoying that change, and I think that'll be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sharon Duncan Brewster in that interview said, Liet Kynes is such an integral role. He connects all of the different dots. He connects the Fremen, he connects the Atreides family, he knows the Harkonnens, the planet, the sandworms. Like, he's sort of the Yoda, Obi-Wan sort of person. And I love that not only do we get to see a black woman encompass this role, but also, Maude, you were saying, before that they're also really leaning into Lady Jessica.
And respecting what the Gom Jabbar is all about, what the legacy is all about, why these women in the position of not only secrecy, but sort of like the powers that they are bestowed, like it's so powerful in that particular way, and that she's not a side player in this game. She's so crucial. Yeah.
Stephen Colbert actually pointed that out. He said when he was rereading the book, he was struck by how much the backstory and action of the story are driven by Lady Jessica. And Rebecca Ferguson was like, Denis highlighted everything from the book in the film. Her decisions sort of fracture and impact and disrupt everything that goes on. And that was one of my favorite elements of the book, is that obviously, and also the Bene Gesserit and the history there, but that even though you think she's sort of behind the scenes, she also impacts everything. So I love that they're, really highlighting the women of the film as well.
Yeah. I am such a huge fan of Zendaya's, and to see her in Paul's dream in this trailer, I was like, yeah, dude, okay, that's awesome.
That's
great.
I think that because we're wondering what the first movie is going to entail and when it's going to end. I actually think sort of Chani at the beginning of the book with this dream sequence and this vision, it plays an important role with his destination and where he's going. I think that it might actually end with meeting Chani, realizing that she's not just a figment of his imagination, but a real key person. And then having the Sardaukar like kind of closing down and in, possibly, unless that's too soon. I don't know. This is interesting.
Yeah, well, go ahead, Hector.
I was just going to say, it's reminding me of the conversations we had while we were covering the book and we were talking about this. And I remember that we said something like Acts 1 and 2 of the book might be this first movie. And then they really might devote the entire second movie to like that big confrontation that everything was building up towards and this big battle. And there's even a time jump, and we might see the time skip between the two films. And I remember, again, going to Keller, my roommate and my fellow Dune fan. He was saying like, I think it's going to be when Paul first like taps into the spice the first time, which is such this incredible moment, and then it ends, and then I think there's some time that passes, and then he goes through that similarly again. So I don't know. There's a bunch of different places to end it. I just trust the filmmakers at this point. I have to say again, man, this trailer looked so visually stunning. That first shot where they're standing there and there's all these like ships and there's things on fire in the desert in the background. I was like, oh, we're in this. Okay. I am so into how good this movie is going to look. I really have faith that Denis Villeneuve, being such a huge fan of Dune, is going to do it justice. So I'm stoked.
I remember when we did book club, you were suggesting that the fate of Oscar Isaac's character would probably be a starting point, because that is sort of like a new beginning where the weight of the world basically is on Paul's shoulders. The chat is also saying, how cool would it be if Kyle MacLachlan was Count Fenring in this?
Oh, that'd be so funny.
Because technically still he's a Haderach.
Oh my God, that would be really funny. I think there's the time jump, and there is a lot with Fade Ralpha and his dynamic with the Baron, especially a little bit later on, and his coming of age. I think that and the big confrontation are going to be a big part of the second one. I also think we see Paul in a fight with a crysknife. So I think the spice, the first sort of spice visions and the battle that he has that sort of proves him with the Fremen a little bit. I think that, and Chani and him sort of getting a little smoochy smooch, I think that's going to be the culmination. And you have sort of first act is up until, you get to know everyone and you get to what happens with his family. And then it's sort of second act is getting through the desert, meeting people, all of that. And then you culminate with, this big fight, this, him sort of stepping into his own and learning about his the prophecies around him and his birthright. That's sort of what I'm thinking. And that way you can have Fade sort of Thanos style step out of the shadows in the end and have this moment where you're like, oh, he's effed, this is not over kind of thing. And then you can focus on the Baron and the court and those dynamics in the second one.
I gotta say, I rarely like a movie or a concept being split into two films. Like it's usually done for a money grab. The Hobbit, the last Harry Potter, Twilight, that's when it kind of started, because they were like, we can really cash in on this. I am so glad that Dune will be two movies. I'm glad that they're going to take the time, give it the attention and breakdowns and fleshed out, which it needs to be, because I feel like the original Dune that came out in the 80s, it was like bam, 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 over. And you're like, what? This is, the book is this thick. Like we got to digest some of this stuff. So that's what I'm excited about, because it's, and I think that Denis Villeneuve in that way, is really respecting the source material.
Absolutely.
And that's like, sometimes the director will just have their own interpretation of it. But I feel like here there is a lot of respect, and it's not a let's make a bunch of money. It's let's do the source material justice and really tell the story in a proper way.
give it the weight that it deserves. And also that he is, Hector, like you said as well, the tone of this trailer and the weight of this story and how introspective the story actually is.
Yeah.
I think that needs that space, but also he's not afraid to make changes that still encompass, the spirit of the story while putting new twists on it, which is really, really exciting. So
I feel like it's also been a while. I know you mentioned this at the beginning, Rachel. It's been a while since it's not movie trailer season anymore because of COVID. Everything has sort of stopped. So it's been a while since like a big trailer came out. It's been a while since we've seen tons and tons of trailers. This trailer also, just the music choice, everything just felt different about it. And I'm enamored by it. I'm in love with that how it feels almost like, I don't know, you're just so used to like the Christopher Nolan style movie trailers and everything having a certain sort of rhythm. And this just feels different. I just love that music choice. Hopefully that means that we're getting something really, really special and that everybody involved knows it's something really special. And
honestly,
can't wait
the
to see
look of it is beautiful.
Yeah.
The sound is beautiful. The tone is spot on. The casting is amazing. Like I'm pretty pumped, guys.
I'm extremely
and I haven't been excited for a while. Yeah,
I know. That's how I felt. I was like, man, I am so excited for this. So everyone wear a mask so that this can come out in December and we can go to the theater. So I really want to see it. Wear a mask. Yeah. It really helps.
I want to see it on a big screen.
Me too.
Yeah.
I just be responsible, respect your fellow humans. Man, that's all we're going to talk more about this obviously over the next couple of months, but it was so fun to chat with you guys about this and watch it. Everyone at home, if you want to read or reread Dune before the film, number one, retweet our giveaway tweet to potentially win a copy of the Macmillan audiobook. You can also check out past episodes of Nerdist Book Club if you missed when we covered Dune. We did it for 6 weeks. It was so much fun. Stay tuned later today for Nerdist News, a full shot-by-shot breakdown of the trailer. All of our extreme Dune fans are going deep into this. Dan Casey, Matt Caron, Amy Ratcliffe are just like, I need to check on Matt Caron actually. Make sure.
Amy says she's got an 1,800 word breakdown coming.
I read it. You can check it out on nerdist.com and let us know what you thought of the trailer using the hashtags Dune Movie and Nerdist Book Club. Don't forget, we have another episode tonight. Join us tonight at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Lovecraft Country. There will be wine. We will be live on Nerdist YouTube and Geek and Sundry's Twitch. We will let the wine flow because I did not sleep last night. I was so excited. Hector, Maude, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you. And final thoughts with this one though. I usually get really kind of nervous about long trailers because trailers these days just share the entire movie. Yes. The way that they sliced this, the way that they kind of like edited this trailer, it didn't feel like it was 3 minutes long. It felt like it was just glimpses and cuts, which is very kind of like the essence of the Bene Gesserit getting their visions. And also like I don't necessarily, even though I've read the book, I don't know what this movie will necessarily entail, where it's going to stop, what it's going to show. So I think that's really well done. And I credit where credit due.
Yeah. And my final thoughts, movie looks good.
Awesome. All right. We'll see you guys later today. Thank you so much for joining us. Go to nerdist.com for all of your Dune needs.